Welcome to the 2016 Northern Ireland Environmental Benchmarking Survey. The survey will be open for 2 months and closes on Thursday the 30th of June. We will now take you through the survey questions and guidance notes. The survey is made up of 16 questions in 4 sections. All questions must be answered. Section 1, Corporate Strategy. Questions 1 to 4 is worth 26.7%. Section 2, Environmental Management. Questions 5 to 9 is worth 10.8%. Section 3, Environmental Performance and Improvement. Questions 10 to 15 is worth 60%. Section 4, Assurance. Question 16 is worth 2.5%. Scoring bands. Every participant will receive at least a green score for taking part. We recognise that the survey is a voluntary exercise and organisations should be awarded for taking part. Section 1, Corporate Strategy. To respond positively, your organisation must have a procedure or policy in place or supporting documentation to demonstrate that the environment is considered when making strategic business decisions. This may be through a formal due diligence process, conducting a risk assessment, life cycle assessment, social impact assessment, etc. Examples of supporting evidence: risk evaluation headings highlighting the key issues identified, board meeting agenda, certification to BS 8900, Sustainability Standard. It is recognised that organisations have different board structures. However, a responsible and accountable member of senior management should hold responsibility for improving the environmental performance of the organisation. Examples of supporting evidence: board agenda, scope of responsibility for board member, description of the process for reporting issues to the board and list of recent reporting dates. Job description of board members, indicating roles and responsibilities. Examples of supporting evidence: minutes from board meetings. Abridged versions are acceptable as long as evidence detailing the subject of the meeting is provided. Examples of supporting evidence: supplying a programme from an event, link to an online environmental case study. Public environmental reporting can be carried out as part of a wider annual report or as a more specific sustainability report. Robust reporting of environmental issues should include quantifiable targets and reporting of progress towards these. Data recorded should be reported honestly. If current trends suggest the targets will not be met, the report should state what changes will be made in order to achieve the targets. Examples of supporting evidence: a public environmental sustainability report or annual report with an environmental section. Employees with environmental responsibilities should include line management in all operational business units. Examples of supporting evidence: job descriptions including key environmental responsibilities, summary of training courses and awareness-raising initiatives taken, examples of internal communication channels established. Examples of supporting evidence: results of risk and opportunity assessments, summaries of approaches used to engage customers, examples of sustainable marketing materials, sustainable innovation. Select all that apply to your organisation. Examples of supporting evidence: environmental supply chain policy, criteria for prioritisation of suppliers, list of organisations for engagement. This year we introduced the Bring a Business initiative. If you have encouraged one of your key suppliers to participate in the survey for the first time, complete the details in this section of the survey to avail of the extra marks available. This question addresses the extent to which an organisation communicates with those bodies responsible for ensuring compliance with environmental regulation, i.e. through inspection, permitting, enforcement, etc. Depending on the nature of your business, these are likely to include the Northern Ireland Environment Agency, other government departments and agencies, and local councils. Whilst responding to requests from regulatory bodies should be a minimum requirement and may in many cases be mandatory, actively seeking advice and guidance in order to ensure effective compliance demonstrates a positive approach. Going beyond this, engaging in dialogue with appropriate regulatory bodies is likely to represent responsible business practice. For example, consulting with regulators when developing new approaches to reducing environmental impacts with the aim of exceeding compliance requirements. This question deals with the concepts of life cycle analysis, product life cycle, design for the environment and so on. It seeks to assess the level of commitment to the environment beyond the factory or the office, from design through manufacture to post-factory use and final disposal. Manufacturing companies must consider the environmental impact of products they produce throughout their entire life cycle, how they are designed, the manufacturing process, what they are used for and how, and finally how they are disposed of, reused or recycled. It might mean that some products are discontinued, an alternative found, or that they are significantly altered to reduce their environmental impact. For service companies or organisations, including trusts and councils, issues which might be considered include the effect that the service supplied has on the customer's environmental impacts. For example, a consulting engineer might be able to help its clients reduce waste. The way in which the service is supplied, for example, does it make heavy use of transport facilities? The behaviours which result. For example, is a supermarket encouraging efficient travel and recycling, or is a bank considering the environmental effects of the projects to which it lends? Section 2. Environmental Management. An environmental management system, EMS, is part of the overall management system which includes the organisational structure, responsibilities, practices, procedures, processes and resources for determining and implementing the environmental policy. As a minimum, your EMS should be compliant with a recognised international standard for environmental management, such as ISO 14001 or BS 8555. An environmental policy should link the values and corporate responsibility principles of the organisation, address all relevant environmental activities, and enable control of the key environmental issues and risks. The type of environmental issues important to your organisation will be dependent upon the nature of your organisation's business activities, its impacts and the geographic location of your markets. Business in the Community suggests that you consider both the local and global environmental impacts of your business activities. Organisations will not be scored on the list of key environmental issues they have identified, but on how they have determined that list. If issues have been evaluated as part of an ad hoc review carried out for the purpose of completing the survey, then this will score less than if issues have been evaluated as part of a regular, independent review process built into an organisation's strategic decision-making, risk management or management system review process. Legal compliance is a fundamental part of any business. It is imperative that all organisations become aware of the environmental legislation which is relevant to them and ensure they are legally compliant. A starting point would be to develop a register of environmental legislation, a document listing legislation relevant to your business. A business also needs to have a formalised system of reviewing and updating this register as new legislation is introduced. Objectives should be documented, reviewed and updated at least annually to be considered regular. The objectives should reflect the areas of significant environmental impact. Environmental management targets are the detailed performance requirements which arise from the environmental management objectives. Targets should ideally apply the SMART principle, namely they should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant and have a timescale. Environmental management targets are the detailed performance requirements which arise from the environmental management objectives. Section 3. Environmental performance and improvement. Measuring and monitoring impact enables an organisation to evaluate its performance over time, identify and address problem areas and opportunities, improve performance and ensure compliance with legal requirements. Reporting on performance can help an organisation to engage its stakeholders more effectively and improve their perception of the organisation. It shows responsibility and commitment to transparency and improvement. Examples of supporting evidence. Record sheet showing environmental issues being recorded, internal reports showing all environmental data, reference to where information is publicly available. The scope of information measures how much your company is integrating this aspect of corporate responsibility through your business activities. An organisation may have main operation sites and smaller satellite operations. If the KPIs and active travel planning covers only those main sites, this should be indicated by the percentage of total employees working from those sites. The quality of the information collated provides an indication of its reliability and hence how much onus management should place on the data gathered. Performance improvements should relate to your KPI specified for this impact area and to the scope of information measured and reported on. If you have stated that you measure and report on your energy impact for greater than 75% of your business, then any performance improvements indicated in this question should also relate to greater than 75% of your business. By measuring participants based on the sum of the total percent performance improvement over the past 3 years, we are lessening the impact of a bad year, recognising the overall performance improvement an organisation has made. Normalised figures. We encourage the use of efficiency measures, normalised data, rather than totals or absolute figures to demonstrate improvement. For example, kilowatt hours per number of employees or by turnover or unit of production. Reporting period column. Each reporting period must be 12 months long. This can be calendar year, financial year, etc., with reporting period 4 being the most recent. Energy column. This column is for the total energy use across your organisation, including electricity, gas, oil, etc. Individual types of energy use will need to be converted to 1 unit of kilowatt hours so that they can be combined. Waste generated column. This column is to show the total amount of waste generated by your organisation. This includes both waste sent to landfill and waste diverted from landfill. This data can be expressed as either an absolute or normalised figure. The automatic calculation will reward a decrease in the annual data entered in this column. Waste recycled column. In this column, we are looking for the amount of waste which has been recycled. The data can be expressed as either an absolute or normalised figure, but the unit of measurement must be the same as used in the waste generated column. Transport column. This column should contain data on mileage for either business or commuting travel over the 3 reporting periods. This can be normalised against turnover, number of employees, etc. Additional impact column. This impact area must be different to the core impact areas already covered, i.e. energy/CO2 emissions, transport, waste generated/disposed, and waste reused/recycled, or water. Arena Network will not accept duplicated answers, and you will automatically lose the marks for this question if you input duplicated answers. For further guidance on question 13, refer to the Environmental Performance Guidance document. Renewable energy is defined as energy generated from wind, solar, wave and tidal, geothermal, biomass and hydroelectric sources. This section is an opportunity to gain marks for environmental improvement projects beyond the scope of the questions covered in the rest of the survey. We'd love you to demonstrate your commitment to the circular economy and take our Towards Zero Waste pledge. Whatever stage you are at in your journey, for more information see our website www.bitcni.org.uk/planet. This section requires you to provide assurance that management processes are in place within your organisation to ensure that environmental information provided is accurate and of an acceptable quality. When you have completed the survey, you must print the sign-off sheet and have this completed by your Chief Executive or Managing Director. This should then be scanned and emailed to Diana Muir. Supporting evidence and verification. You are not required to provide supporting evidence for the survey. You will only be required to provide supporting evidence if you are going through the verification process. 15% of companies are verified every year, selected at random by our external consultants. Companies have found the verification process to be extremely valuable and in most cases have gained some marks from underscoring themselves. If you have any queries relating to the survey or for further information, please contact Keelan McCone. Thank you and good luck with your submission. Don't forget the deadline is Thursday the 30th of June.